Hey everyone, Kegis Boy here with a bit of a tabletop tip. Um, Earlier, I had someone asking a question about what to do with a large group of characters in a role playing session. And for me, that really depends a lot on the DM and it depends a lot on the players. Now, what a large group is going to be depends a lot on exactly who we're dealing with. But for me, I'd say anything over five, and you're going to start getting into problems with people wanting to go off and do their own things. For that, my recommendation is have a co DM. Have someone who is going to be able to step in and help out with the other players so that no one is ever really left behind. Because from personal experience, that can be a problem. You're always going to have players who have a force of will and who can control the narrative of a story. And the larger the group of players, the more often something like that is going to come up. So, giving these little side stories, giving these little scenarios where you can have a smaller subsection of the group go off and do their own thing allows for personal growth of those players and for the campaigns to diverge in ways that you normally wouldn't expect. And another thing, if you're not trying to do separate DMs, not trying to do, split campaigns, I would recommend if you have players that split off a lot, have some of the players who are not going to be involved directly in what's going on play the NPCs. You can have them come up with personalities through a specific outline that you provide for them because you don't want a completely new story that is not part of your campaign being created. But by allowing these other players to be able to formulate and role play characters that are not their creations, you create learning experiences for them and you create more growth opportunities. Because sometimes a player will be more free to go out there with a character that's not theirs than they would with their own specific character in the fear of losing their character because of their actions. In general, having a large gaming group is something that you have to take on with just be careful. You have to be careful when you're taking on a large gaming group. And you also have to know what is too much for you to handle. A lot of people starting off DMing, or even long-time DMs, don't know exactly what their limits are and how many players that they can reasonably handle. And when it comes to saying, I've had enough, I have enough players, some people don't know how to say that's enough properly. They're afraid because they might be turning away friends and hurting feelings. But a friend will know, okay, I'll be in the next game. Don't be afraid to do that. Anyway, these are just some quick tips and quick talk, and I will see you all next time. Bye bye. Hey, Kirkus Boy back, and we're going to be talking a bit more about how to handle rowdy game groups. Now, when you're dealing with a lot of people, things can get hectic, things can get wild, and a lot of it is going to deal into heightened emotions because these are people who are putting a lot of time and a lot of effort to sitting in one place and working together on something. Well, when you're doing that, before you begin anything, you have to establish ground rules. You have to establish rules about what to do when the emotions get heavy, and you have to learn to force your group to take breaks. A good DM needs to be able to read people, needs to be able to see if certain players are getting on each other's nerves or if certain players are not feeling that they're being given enough attention. And you need to sometimes pull aside those players and hash things out with them. A lot of people forget that a dungeoneering group is supposed to be a collection of friends getting together and having fun. And if you are noticing that your friends are not having fun with something, pause the game. You're supposed to be hanging out, you're supposed to be just enjoying each other, then do that. Because the enjoyment of your friends is always going to be more important and lead to more enjoyment of the game. So, one recommendation is always have food around because hungry people tend to get more angry and get to those heightened emotions a lot faster than someone who's got a full belly in them. And also, never be afraid to remove a problem element. Sometimes you can remove a problem element and still keep the friend. Sometimes removing the problem element is removing someone who you realize should not be part of this group. And that is something that's hard for everyone, but it is something that you have to figure out. But also talk with your players because if you discuss your issues with a player, you might find out reasoning behind something. Sometimes someone's had a bad week. Sometimes there are things going on in their life that they have not felt comfortable sharing, and it's leading to bad things happening in the game. Once again, game groups should be friend groups. So figure out what's going on with your friends. And when you do that, that can lead to a better game group and a better friendship.